One of the things that I discovered online with the radicalization is when we talk about radicalization, we rightly talk about typically a vulnerability someone has, a pre-existing vulnerability someone has, which can make them susceptible to radicalization. But one of the things that was happening, so the Manosphere in some ways, it's like a sales funnel where you have these masculinity entrepreneurs who will like create the need in the person through this stuff. So someone has a phone, say, and they will find a video where the person, the masculinity entrepreneur, will diminish them and make them feel like they're lacking in some quality. In the same, I mean, it's a capitalist thing in a way. Like you know, if a mainstream advert, like if you don't have this aftershave, you're not going to get the chicks or something. You know, that's like what advertising has been like that in the past. But they do that, but it's straight to the person's cell phone, so circumvents other forms of socialization, and will kind of make them feel like, you know, you're a soy boy, you're a beta male, you're never going to get a girlfriend. The world has changed. You can't be just like expecting to find like a wife or something. But if you buy them, then they present themselves as like a charismatic kind of savior and guide. If you buy my course, this will kind of fix your problems.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because it's, you know, what I found in my book and research as a woman, it's like there's still so much that women deal with, right? And kind of like toxic beauty culture and that. But I can now go on Instagram and quite easily find an influencer who's a woman who is spreading positivity and telling me to love myself as I am and I don't need to change myself for a man in a relationship. Whereas if you look at the, you know, what the men and boys are being told, like you say, by these influencers, it's kind of like you need to change everything about yourself actually to be successful, you know? So it's like that toxic, like comments and negativity that they're getting that just isn't the same as what women are getting online. So, you know, you can go online as a woman and find that positivity. Whereas with men, unfortunately, like it's there, but it's just not. The
market has expanded to men of that stuff. So for a long time you had women being made to feel like shit, so you buy the product, you do the routine or whatever, you have to like find a husband or something, whatever it is. But then the market has expanded, so now it's like men made to feel like that as well. Right. So you can sell, like you have, during the research, I read some paper where it's like 13-year-old boys taking anabolic steroids because they feel like they need to be more masculine. Even like gym culture. So I started going to the gym at like 25, not that you would know, but I started going to the gym at like 25. I'm quite a slacker with that, but going to the gym at like 25, and it wasn't really a fashionable thing at the time. It was like it was like the bodybuilders, and then you kind of, some people did it occasionally. But then you go today and it's like there is like really young boys doing it. Yeah. And there's an extent to which that's healthy, but it's like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it just to get fit for like a sport or something? Or are you feeling like you need to look a certain way because the algorithm told you do?
Yeah. It's so ironic, isn't it, in the sense of we've never had more alpha males, like with so much more influence in terms of like you're literally, you know, friends with the president of the United States. You have the top podcasts on Spotify. You have millions of views on YouTube. And yet they're the ones who apparently have all the answers and are telling you how to live such a successful life. Yet all we hear is about the male loneliness epidemic and how and men's mental health and how like it's really difficult to be a teenage boy, which is true, it is. So it's like obviously what they're selling isn't working, you know? I mean, the social media platforms, the tech platforms have such a huge role in this space. I think there's research that shows within the first 23 minutes of teenage boys being on YouTube Shorts and TikTok, they're served anti-feminist, masculinist content, even if they've not even watched that kind of content. Right. And again, it's because you get pulled in with the most controversial stuff, keeps people online, you know, again, so there's a thing of, if you watched Emma Watson's speech at the UN about feminism, the next video it would recommend was a Jordan Peterson video. Okay, so I'm clicking that. Then the next video you recommend, and it'd be something, all of a sudden you're down this rabbit hole when you just wanted to watch this video about a positive thing about feminism, you know? So the algorithms play such a huge role. And I think it's really difficult to try and speak to young people about that because that's just what they're seeing every day. Like that's the content they're being served, or like that's the content that their friends are sharing. So then they're being served it as well. So tech platforms, gosh, they play such a huge role, and it really frustrates me when it's really played down and it's like, oh, we can't really, you know, even Google, for example, Google try and act like they don't have much control about the search results. So there's a chapter in my book that I talk about deepfake abuse, deepfake porn, and on Google for so long, campaigners were like, well, when you type in deepfake porn, why are all these websites coming up that are showing it? No, you know, there's this sense of, well, we can't really do anything about that, you know, it's its own algorithm, but it's like, well, you can. you actually design Google yourself. There's so much that tech platforms can do. Unfortunately, we know who kind of runs these tech platforms, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, who don't really want to put the time, effort, and money into making women and girls safe on their platforms. And then when it comes to the Ofcom guidance that's out with the Online Safety Act, when it comes to online misogyny, that's just voluntary. So I don't really have much faith in the tech bros volunteering to make the platform safe for women and girls on there. So it seems like they're just getting away with so much, and we're just told like this is just how the internet is, when it isn't. It's specifically designed like that. In America, there's campaigners. I was out in Washington, D.C. in December with a group of campaigners who were trying to get the Take It Down Act through, which would mean that if something was reported as being a non-consensual image that was shared online, the tech platforms would have to respond within 48 hours for getting that down. Then they're also trying to get through Deepfake Abuse Act. There's big pushback with AI control, in America, and especially now in the UK as well, of like, it's free speech. And I feel like, we hear this so often, it's impacting people's free speech. But, as a woman who's been in these spaces, who've experienced online misogyny, and, in my book, I interview a lot of campaign survivors and experts and allies who have all experienced this. It's so frustrating to be like, why is someone's free speech to create an explicit deepfake of someone for satire prioritized over a woman's bodily autonomy online?
Yeah.